Hey, what is up everyone? Today we are going to do something really fun as we begin to wind down the year. Well, actually I'm going to do something really fun. My birthday was a few days ago, and since 2019 is quickly coming to an end, I thought it'd be really fun to get a tarot card reading. I'm Risa Morimoto, your host, and you're watching Modern Aging, where we chat about innovative and holistic ways to care for one another as we age. Make sure to click on that little red button and the little bell to be sure to be notified of new episodes when they're uploaded. And of course, you can always sign up to our email list on our website at thisismodernaging.com. Swati Khurana and I used to work together back in the day at NYU. She's a prolific artist, and she started studying tarot cards a few years ago. To be honest, I was kind of like, should I videotape this? What if she says something horrifying or terrifying? What am I gonna do? But then I was like, what the hell, why not? When we open ourselves up to the unknown and to new adventures, usually awesome experiences emerge. And if not, you always have a good story to tell, right? So join me as we find out together how my 2020 is going to be. Okay, Swati, here we go.
Are you excited?
Am I excited? I don't know.
For your birthday year ahead reading.
I know, it's exciting and nauseating.
Okay. Do you do like astrology? Do you read your chart or anything?
I've had my chart read.
Okay.
Years
What did that
ago.
feel like?
It was good. I mean, I love all this stuff, you know, it's just fun and, you know.
So we're doing a year ahead spread, and it's 13 cards. It's a pretty big one. So we can give it's a good time with birthdays. Also, your birthday's towards the end of the year, so it's like perfect to have what's a forecast, what's also what should you reflect upon, right? Because like that's always very interesting too. You got to look back to look forward. Okay, so what is your sign? I always like to ask that.
I'm a Sag.
Oh my God! So we're in Sag season.
Oh God!
So the reason I ask is because the tarot is 4 elements, and Sagittarius is fire, and that's represented by wands. So we're just gonna like count the wands because I notice there's a lot of wands. We have 5 of wands, King of wands, 9 of wands, and 10 of wands. So that's a lot. I would say if you take a quick look, the element that shows up most is fire, which is interesting.
Oh God, is interesting meaning like
no,
you're totally screwed?
Interesting because we just started Sagittarius season and we're getting a lot of fire. I love fire.
So what's wands? I don't know.
So wands, okay, so the way the tarot, you know, like a deck of playing cards is 4 suits, diamonds, hearts, clubs, and swords. So they relate, the tarot and the regular playing cards are very closely connected. In fact, it's often said that they have like the same roots from like Renaissance Italian card games. So that a lot of our playing cards that we use now were divination cards as well. So
you make an interpretation, or you ask me questions, or how does this work?
A bit of both. So I like to do a temperature check of the reading just to get a sense. So we're seeing a lot of wands and fire. I also like to count to see how many major arcana. Look, we do have death. We were just talking about death. Death is not death, though, so we're not worried about that.
So death is change.
Death is change, yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 Roman numeral cards. These are the trump cards. I hate that word, major arcana. So this means that I think this next year is going to be like, there's going to be some like transformations next year, which is good.
Oh God.
Which might be why you wanted a tarot reading. You're like,
I know.
I want something a little different. If we have Ace through 10, a lot of times that is kind of a transitional movement flowing energy. When we see a lot of Roman numerals, it means like it's a little bit of a bigger change of an energy. Like there's still movement, it means it's a bigger movement. Let's start with this one first, actually. So this is the biggest lesson of last year.
Why are you starting with that one?
Because this is the biggest lesson of last year, and then we'll go back to this one.
So each placement has
a value, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the 5 of wands. So again, wands is fire. If you notice, there's like 5 people like kind of holding sticks. So we have 5 of wands. So what that means is there's been a lot of like creative energy. Wands is very fast moving. Do you feel fast? Because it's fire. Think about how fast fire moves. It's like, moves really fast, doesn't it? You know, you kind of have to be careful of it. But what might have been interesting for you is that, did you feel like last year, so let's say your 51st year, you had a lot of things moving quickly or a lot of creative projects, or maybe you felt like slightly pulled in different directions or going from one thing to another.
Yeah, for the past 51 years.
For the past 51 years. Okay, could be 51 years.
No.
So my interpretation of the Five of Wands is creative chaos. There is chaos. It's creative. It's not like it's conflict chaos. But it's not like these 5 people holding these sticks are not really building anything right now, right? Like the beams are going all different directions. And so what it can mean is that this is a very like creative, like you've had a really creative time, but you might be, one of your lessons from last year is you might want to have the sticks face in a certain direction.
Yes, please.
You might want to build a structure.
Yes, please.
Okay. But there's been a lot of like creative flow. Your aspiration. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite cards. And why it's my favorite? Because Queens, I love Queens. I'm a Libra. I love swords. Swords are an air sign. I love that she's on
air.
Air, like justice, air, like your fire. Sagittarius is fire. And so Queen of Swords, you see that she's on a stack of books, right? So Queen of Swords is about learning knowledge. It doesn't have to be like formal knowledge. It could be education, but it also could just be like an inner knowledge. It could be like your own reading and studying.
I'm studying to become a certified health coach now.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
totally. This might be exactly just what you need to do, like knowledge and studying. It also is when someone is in a Queen of Swords space, this is your aspiration. So you want to be more in the world of books and ideas. That's probably what this feels like. You actually kind of want to just like be in a stack of books and working. Also, when we get Queen of Swords, it's someone who is very, very good at boundaries and someone who's very good at like kind of having the intellectual clarity on making like life decisions. So it's someone who can just be very calm, cool, say like, okay, I'm looking at everything I need to do and I'm doing this, I'm saying no to that. It's also someone who can make boundaries for other people. Like the person who's the Queen of Swords is the person who is going to their elder's hospital and making the list of who's allowed to visit and when. They're like, these are the boundaries we're creating. So your aspiration is to be someone who has incredible clarity. Like you're in a world of books, in a world of learning, but also for yourself feeling like I am making decisions with like just a lot of thought. I'm saying yes because I've really thought things through. And it's the lesson is like this was a faster moving energy, the Five of Wands, you want to like move more quickly. And here you're like, I want to be a little bit more deliberate and not feel so much chaos.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is like the opposite, like the
So
stack
this is what I want.
This is your aspiration for next year. It's like that's what you want
and
to
then
do.
it's in this position.
Yes, that's the aspiration. Now, this is Temperance. So Temperance is your source for empowerment. I find that this image is a little confusing to me. So I'm going to describe this other image by this other deck called The Spirit Within that I like a little bit more, but I like this deck more, but I love that Temperance card. So that Temperance card is a DJ with 2 turntables. Here is a woman with 2 cups. And what Temperance is, what is a good DJ of like a party? A good DJ is someone who has like an aesthetic, has a point of view, a perspective, but also releases their ego to like create an experience that other people enjoy. So it's someone who's kind of able to take some space, take a little bit of distance, have a vantage point, create something. Also the cups, when we see cups that are flowing in and out of each other or filling each other, there's like a lot of like fulfillment. And so your source of empowerment here is to kind of, you want to think about this idea of like, you're the DJ of your ideal party.
That's so awesome.
Whatever that is, right? Like whatever that music is, exactly. That you're like kind of creating.
I'm the host.
You're creating the situation to like give yourself like the right mood. You're also like finding people to be that DJ. But it's like a very, so your source of empowerment comes from like a sense of a lot of balance, a lot of fulfillment, but like maybe a little bit of like a separation from the ego. Like a little bit removal. So that's your source of empowerment. So if you think about like the DJ.
Well, that's a good thing, no?
I love it, yeah. And I love this moon card. Whenever
you love all the cards.
These cards are so good. I love them all. The moon here is that you will be like going into your like subconscious more. So like the moon is, so this is like what one of the things that you might want to like keep in mind. Do you remember your dreams?
Sometimes.
Okay. So when we see a moon card, I always feel like it's a nice like connection to think about like, well, what messages am I getting from like my dreams that maybe I should just think about, like, you know, or like just spending a moment in the morning to like collect your dream thoughts or things like that.
Is it also like intuition and that sort of thing?
Exactly. This is a deep intuition card. And what it also means is that
So I should pay attention to my gut?
pay attention to your gut and be comfortable with the unknown, which is very scary. But this is probably the thing that might be interesting for you and might be a source of like, might be a little source of struggle, but actually in the like landscape of your life, it's like, it's very positive. But if you're making a transition with becoming a health coach, you might have feelings of, what am I doing? This feels really weird. Like, I don't know, I'm going into an abyss. Like, what if this doesn't do this, or this doesn't do the 5 things that I want it to be doing, or things like that, that you might feel a little bit unknown about it. But I also feel like this is a really interesting card if you're creative, because what it also might mean is that like within you, a creative project is actually churning away, and you don't always know like where, you know, sometimes some of your creative ideas, you have no idea where they come from.
Yeah.
Like this is also a beautiful card for like going into your creativity. So if you're not a creative person and you're very like, I go to work in the morning, I come home and I do like after work drinks, and like I watch late night TV, and then I go home, and you might see the moon card and freak out because you're like, this is really weird. Like, I don't know what that means. But if you're like an artist, I feel like people love the moon card because they're like, yes, I'm going to go into the unknown a little bit. I'm going to tap into my subconscious because that's where like good art comes from. That's where like your intuition comes from. But like people who are afraid of it. So I would say the thing here is lean into the unknown. Pay attention to the subconscious. With the unknown, sometimes we struggle with wanting more signs, wanting more of a path, wanting more illumination. And your intuition is the illumination. All right, so let's go to your 2020. So we're going to do...
so this is all...
like the snapshot of last year and this year. And this is just going into relationships and emotions, career, work, and finances, health and well-being, spiritual energy, and inner fulfillment. Again, career, work, and finances. I love this card. King of Wands is like such a fun card, especially for career. So here's an example of King of Wands. King of Wands would be like Steve Jobs, you know, in an auditorium saying, guys, there is going to be a computer in your pocket. And you're going to listen to music to it, and then it's going to be a computer. People are like, no, that's stupid. There's no computer in a pocket. You need a huge motherboard. You need a network. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not possible. So King of Wands is someone who's very charismatic, a leader, and like creating a new world and articulating it. So it's... Yes. So this is really not just that you want to monetize things or create a product, but you actually want to lead. You want to be seen as a thought leader, like as an authority, as someone who like knows a lot about this. Like, it's not just that you want to create a business, but you actually want, it's almost like you're creating yourself, like you and your knowledge, your charisma, your expertise is the business. So your personality.
Wow. Are you just saying this?
Yes, I am just saying this. It's a pretty cool card for like building things and work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's just go to health and well-being, since that's also wands. So one thing that's important is as you do the King of Wands, which is like being really fiery, is that you don't become exhausted. You don't like burnout. And I'm just going to point out that we have a 9 of 10 of wands in the spread, and we'll go to the 10 of wands when we go to that row.
Oh, I see.
So when we see things that are like little numbers, not Roman numerals, and they're consecutive, I like to pay attention to that because that means that this transition is happening. But again, it's a moment of transition, not a moment of transformation. So this is the question and the answer of when you're looking at, your 52nd year, what do you need to think? What are the lessons you need to keep in mind about health and well-being? So in terms of let's say for career and finances, it's let the charismatic leader lead. That is where to put your energy. For health and well-being, the lesson that you might want to keep in mind is think about
Not burning out.
Not burning out. Because this person is moving fast. Nothing is really happening that's negative, but when you have 9 of wands, 10 of wands, it means that the wands are getting exhausted, and you might need to take a rest. So let's go back here for a minute. This is relationships and emotions, which is really interesting. Many people think about the Chariot related to work, because what the Chariot is in this case, the person is on snakes. Chariot means that you're in flow, you're moving. There is intention, you are moving forward, you are charging a path, you are going. So it's interesting, you're actually being asked in your relationship and work to do the work card. Do you know what I mean? And in your finances card, you're be the wizard. So the placement for relationships and work is almost like the productivity card.
That's kind of me, which is bad, I guess.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Well, because, everything is a task and everything. I know that I need to pay attention to whether it's personal relationships or work relationships or whatever. And because I tend to overwork, I know that. So I have to compartmentalize.
Right. So it's kind of interesting that this is in the relationship section.
Good choice of words, Swati.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You're totally screwed.
So, no. Okay, so spiritual energy, inner fulfillment, death. This is a death card. So death is change. Death is also change that you expect to happen. So let's talk about what some examples of death are. Some examples of death are, let's say, if you're in a job and you've been planning to leave your job for 4 years, you've drafted the resignation email 5 times. Death is you click send. It's not something that comes to you. Or it's I've been meaning to move, or I've been meaning to do this thing. So for spiritual energy and inner fulfillment, I would say what this means that there's some change that you've wanted to happen that is really going to bring fulfillment to you. This is the card that truly means change. It really means that there will be a shift that's happening, but it's a shift that's very soul aligned, but it's a shift that you are actually planning. And sometimes you might know what that is. You might hear this and be oh, I think that's the change. Or you may experience and implement the change and be oh my God, that was the death card, because I actually kind of wanted to change that part of my life. This is a little bit of so this is the future. So this is a little bit about the past. This is about your last year, 3 of Swords. Do you see there's like we said, there's a nude person. So there is something that is safe in here. The 3 of Swords actually does mean heartbreak or betrayal. I don't know if there was any heartbreak or betrayal.
My mom died.
That might be it.
My dog died.
That's right. That would be it. So this is this, but what's kind of cool is that this is your past card. You actually are over. You're not over it. You're over
it happening.
It happened. It's in the past. It's you're processing it. But this is really if you were to think about when I was 51, this might be the feeling that comes to you. So let's go to the last row. So this is looking ahead. So this is area of needed focus, most important lesson in the upcoming year, and kind of near future. So near future, we'll just go here first. This is the 9 of Wands, is the 10 of Wands. So the bundle is tied. It looks very neat and organized. But the 10 of Wands is really about being feeling like you're at the end, feeling oh my God, I'm just really tired. It could be a project wrapping up and it's cyclical. Like, it doesn't have to be like I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown and burnout and I'm going to, flip everything. It could just be like, all right, I'm finishing editing something and then I'm in a 10 of wands space and then it'll be over. So I don't know, are you wrapping up anything or is there like...
I'm always wrapping up things. Actually, I am. We're just about to put this documentary that I just finished.
Oh.
We're kind of putting that out into the world. So that's...
So this is just in your near future, just be aware that if you are reaching burnout and you can avoid it, if you can't avoid it, have a rest strategy. All right, area of needed focus. Okay. Knight of Cups is kind of like the Prince Charming card. It's kind of, so Knight is a young energy. So you've had a King and Queen. Knight is like the Jack or something, right? So it's a younger court card. You have a little bit of like an adolescent, fiery, a little bit impulsive energy. And then Cups has to do with emotions. So it's often like the Prince Charming makes the romantic gestures. So this is an area of needed focus. And so when I'm wondering...
So I need to focus
I don't know
on becoming...
exactly. But I believe that, gender is non-binary in the tarot. So all the male court cards are you, right? They're not necessarily men. But it's this idea of feeling like...
It looks like me.
It does look... Oh, yeah. But yeah, so I feel like with the Knight of Cups, it might be to feel romantic, silly, emotionally connected, think
Youthful.
of... What?
That's what I need to focus on?
Yes.
Oh.
This could be a Knight of Cups Saturday night or a, Queen of Swords. Okay, let's talk about this. These are very different energies. They're all very purposeful and intentional, So you're aspiring for this, but yet you also need to focus on this. So you might want to be I really just want to curl up with my books and do my work. And this is what you're aspiring for, but maybe you also have to remember
To have fun.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. The star. Okay. So the star is, I'm just going to point this out. You have the moon, which is Roman numeral 18, and then the star is Roman numeral 17. So this is the one right before. This is another consecutive. I'm just pointing out. Yeah.
With the star and the...
I know. This is so, yeah.
Is that weird?
I love it. So your most important lesson in the coming year is to be optimistic, to be hopeful, to keep hope, and to, how sometimes when you're outside of New York and you look up at the sky, you're like, oh my God, the stars are so brilliant and I'm in the right place. I mean, you probably know, you probably see amazing skies at your job. Oh my God. I'm thinking about you must be in the southern hemisphere.
I've seen some pretty amazing stars for sure.
Yes. So now remember that feeling of what it feels like to be on Earth and see the stars, just be oh my God, it just feels so majestic. Even though I'm really little at this moment, there's a sense of understanding, there's a sense of peace I have, I'm in the right place at the right time. And that's an important lesson for you, is you're in the right place at the right time.